you guys wanted more second gen content, so here I am delivering. This is my 99 Dodge 1500 318 5-speed. And this thing has had a cold misfire, intermittent cold misfire, since the day I got it 4 years ago. Now this, for those of you who didn't follow the project, this was a full mechanical restoration. We did all the suspension, all the steering, the interior, resealed the whole engine, all the sensors, plenum gasket, all the regular stuff, and brakes, of course, and didn't fix the misfire. Thing still has the same misfire. So check engine light is on only because it doesn't have a cat, so no other codes. Does not have vacuum leak. I've sprayed carb cleaner everywhere I could think of while the truck's running. No change in idle. Checked all the vacuum hoses. Again, tested all the sensors, and have not been able to figure this out. And now it's down to two things, right? Plug fuel injector, which I don't think so, because it goes away when it warms up, and something internal in the engine. So I've been avoiding this for 4 years because if it's an internal problem, I don't really have the time to deal with that at the moment on this thing. I drive this truck a lot, but we're doing it. We're gonna pull the plugs out, see how it's running, do a compression check on all the cylinders, and see, finally once and for all, either determine if this is a internal engine issue or not. And if it's not, really don't know what else to do to fix this. So let's give it a shot. I thought I had spark plugs in stock for a 318 Dodge, as many of them as I've owned, and I don't think I do. Took a look, but this is out of cylinder number 2, and nothing there that would cause any concern for me personally. So we're just going to pull each plug out, and then I'm just going to compression test them all once the plugs are all out. The first 3 plugs out, cylinder 2, 6, and 8. They all look pretty similar. A little bit more buildup on 8 than the other 2, as far as like corrosion. It's definitely gonna need a set of plugs, not only because of that, but cylinder number 4 here, somebody had put a different spark plug in there with too big of a nut on it, or too big of a hex on it. So I tried to bend this heat shield out. So basically the socket for these ones slides right in between this heat shield, and you can pull the spark plug out. This one here, the heat shield is too big to accept the size socket that thing needs. So tried bending this out, this heat shield out, and putting a bigger socket on it. Still wouldn't fit. So what I've done now is I've actually broken the end of the plug off, and I'm gonna put a smaller socket on it, on a 3/8 drive. So it's a shallow socket, but it's got thinner walls on it. I think that might work, so we're gonna give that a shot. Well, here's 7 of the 8 spark plugs. A couple of them seem like they've been burning hotter, right? A little lighter color on 3 than 5. And then on this side, a little lighter color on 8. A little bit more debris on 8 versus some of the others. I am going to put spark plugs in this thing, but I'm not seeing anything here that would suggest to me any internal damage on this engine. Now, well, the reason there's 7 plugs here is because this plug is still absolutely fighting me. We're going to have to get real creative with that one. I'm trying to get the heat sheath out of there so that I can get something onto that plug to get it out, but it's pain in the butt. But for now, we're kind of fighting daylight a little bit here. I'm going to do a compression test. We're gonna start with cylinder 2, 6, 8, and then just kind of write what our results are along as we go here, and kind of moment of truth. Oh, obviously engine sounded funny because it's got one spark plug in it, but that was 150 on cylinder 2, which is phenomenal compression. All right, let's go with cylinder 6. All right, so compression test done for every cylinder but 4. We got 155, 150, 135. Obviously that's 4. 150, 120, 155, 135. So 6 is probably a little lower than you want your variance to be. Typically your variance, you want it to be like 10, 15%, but that's not gonna make it run noticeably different at all, right? It's an old 318, it's got a boatload of miles on it. That variance doesn't bother me a bit. Would I love to see them all 150? Yes, but man, as long as they're all over 120, right? That 6 is borderline for sure. But that's not gonna make it run any different. So unless we can get in cylinder 4 and see something obvious there, I am gonna go ahead and say that this engine is internally healthy and that our issue doesn't have to do with the internals of the engine. Got it. What a battle royale. Oh, what a relief. I need to get a shot back in there before all that porcelain falls in my cylindre. Nice. What a battle. Okay, so now we can compression test that one and go from there. I may even just spin the engine over just to blow that stuff out of there first and then hook the compression tester up to it. Oh, what a relief. That was a battle. So how did I get this thing out, right? This thing is so mangled. I couldn't remove the heat shield, right? I pulled on it every which way I could figure out. So I just took a socket and I beat it on there and just took a gamble that it was gonna slip on the spark plug in the right direction, and it got on there. And I was able to sneak it out of there. Thankfully, now this thing is so mangled, my compression tester, I actually had to take and grind this thing down because it won't fit either. So we had to take a grinder to it. Let's see if that fits. All right, we got her ground down enough where she'll fit in there just barely. And let's do a compression test on 4, so that way we have the full picture. And then we'll have to run into town, grab some new sparky poos for this thing. But let's see what she's got on 4, because 6 is our weakest. So let's see what we got. 140. So we are all good for that deal. So compression wise, that is not the issue. We are 140. So we're pretty good across the board. A little weak on 6, but that's not something that concerns me. I promise you I've driven rigs with lower compression than that. So about to go get new sparky poos for this thing. The spark plugs that were in it, there is some funky gapping going on. Not that I think this would make any difference, but so you could see this one's significantly closer than this one as far as the gap's concerned. So kind of is what it is. I mean, I've never gapped plugs before. They're pretty. This is got the widest gap. This came from cylinder 8. So we're gonna get new plugs though, just because these things look pretty ancient. I thought I did them when I did wires, cap and rotor, everything else when I did the plenum, but guess not. So let's pull this compression tester off of this deal and run into town and get some plugs. All right, we're back from the store. That might make a bit of a difference, right? Gap's probably more correct. Obviously it's a fresh plug, but those plugs are not the reason this thing was idling funky. So we're still on the hunt, I guess. So let's throw these new plugs in, fire it up, make sure I get all my wires in the right place, and we'll see how it runs. All right, new sparky poos are in. Let's see how she runs. I do think there's a slight chance that cylinders 2 and 4 on this side might be mixed up, but we'll find out in a second. Put you guys down by the exhaust here. We'll start it up, see how it runs. Yeah, it's still got that same cold miss. So, I don't know. Maybe we try injectors next. Comment down below if you guys can think of anything that I'm missing here. I've tested or replaced every sensor. The IAC, throttle position sensor tested good. Tested for vacuum leaks. Airflow sensor tested good. Man, I don't know. I even put a fuel pump in the thing at one point, see if that would fix it. There's been a couple times, some days it runs better than others, where I thought I had it licked, and always comes back to the same thing. See, it's warming up now. It's running a lot better. But when you first started, it's got that cold stumble, and kind of comes and goes. So anyway, we gave it a shot. We know we got fresh spark plugs in it at least. Thankfully got that spark plug out. That was a tremendous challenge. That took probably an hour plus off camera. So we're gonna call this one good. Appreciate you guys all watching. We will see you on the next one.